If you work in casino marketing, you've probably felt this shift. The experience means more than the offer alone. A guest can have a strong mail offer, solid points multiplier, and a fun event on the calendar, but still leave irritated because the restaurant wait was chaos, the Players Club felt like the DMV, or the hotel check-in took what seemed like a lifetime. And when that happens, they don't think, operations dropped the ball. They think, this place is going downhill. The brand has always been what the guest feels, thinks, and shares, not what we put in the mailer or say on the billboard. The difference now is that the gap between what we promise and what we deliver is visible faster, travels further, and costs more than it ever did. Which is why the modern casino marketer has a new job description. We're not just promotion builders anymore, we're experience makers. Welcome to Drive Time Marketing. Hi there, and welcome back to Drive Time Marketing, the show where we help casino marketers turn strategy into action and insights into impact. I'm Julia Carcamo, and today we're talking about how casino marketers may be taking on another hat, that of an experience engineer. The truth is, the guests don't see your org chart. Internally, we divide the world into marketing, operations, slots, table games, hotel, food and beverage, security, and facilities. But guests don't. They experience one property, one vibe, one promise, one level of friction or ease, one feeling of being welcomed or being processed. And this matters more than it used to because the regional casino guest has options. And not just other casinos. Yes, they can drive 45 minutes in a different direction to a different casino or even pass us by. But they can also spend those leisure dollars on a dinner out, a concert, a weekend away, or simply staying home. Your casino is competing for discretionary time and money against every other experience worth having. A guest will come once because they like the offer. They'll keep coming back because how it feels to be there. Those are two different jobs, and for too long, regional casino marketing has been built almost entirely around the first one. For a large-scale casino, the what is the real weapon. Bigger offers, broader entertainment, more amenities, deeper rewards. They can compete on volume, but for many regional operators, the feeling isn't a consolation prize. It's the actual differentiator. The guest who drives past two competitors to get to your property isn't doing it because your free play is higher. They're doing it because something about your place feels like theirs. That means even if you don't manage the restaurant, you're accountable for what happens there because it directly affects whether the guest stays longer, whether they come back sooner, whether they bring someone with them the next time, and whether they tell others to try the place or avoid it. In a business built on repeat visitation, that's not a secondary concern. That's the entire value proposition. Better offers aren't the answer. The instinct when guests are splitting time between you and competitors is to sharpen the offer, add more free play, increase the multiplier, build out the event calendar. Those things, they still matter, but here's what regional casino operators are running into. Competitors can match most of what you put on paper. Free play, multipliers, giveaways, food comps, entertainment calendars. When competitors can replicate or beat the what, the differentiator becomes how it feels to be there. The experience is what guests remember when the free play is gone. This isn't a soft idea. It's a revenue argument. If two properties offer comparable value on paper, the one that feels easier, warmer, and more competent wins the discretionary visit. And in a regional market where the same guests are making that decision 2 or 3 times a week, those wins multiply quickly. So the new role I see casino marketers taking on is experience stewardship. But let's be clear about what this isn't. This isn't about marketing taking over hotel, food and beverage, or the slot floor. Operations runs those departments for good reason. What this is about is marketing doing what marketing is supposed to do at the highest level. Defining the experience promise, identifying where it breaks down, and helping the property align around delivering it consistently. Think of marketing as the voice of the guest with the revenue lens. What moments drive on property? What moments cause drop-off? What moments make guests say, "This is my place"? When you bring those questions to operations and you bring data behind them, you're not stepping on anyone's toes, you're helping the property win. That's a different conversation than, Here's what you need to do for our next promotion. And it's a conversation most operators are ready to have. After the break, we'll talk about how to take on this new role and how to do it without turf wars erupting. I want to tell you about 2 summer events I'm really excited about from Casino Marketing Bootcamp. The first is Casino Marketing Bootcamp Midwest, August 4th, 5th, and 6th in Tulsa. If you've been stuck in the day-to-day and wishing you had time to really think through your marketing plan, your priorities, and your calendar, this event is for you. It's designed to help you turn your ideas into action, which is why the theme has always been where your ideas become your blueprint for success. The second is our brand new Casino Marketing Bootcamp for direct marketing. That's going to be August 24th and 25th. Direct marketing is still one of the most powerful tools casino marketers have, and this event is all about helping you make every list, every offer, and every dollar work harder. So whether you need to build a plan or strengthen performance, I'd love to see you at one of these summer Casino Marketing Bootcamp events. You can find the details at casinomarketingbootcamp.com. And yes, we do offer early bird pricing and group discounts for teams of 3 or more. Welcome back. Before the break, we were talking about the new role of casino marketers, but now we have to do the work. There are moments that matter, and casino marketers should be a part of that. This isn't a revolution, it's an evolution. You don't have to reinvent the property to improve the experience. But there are 4 areas where experience-minded marketing creates real lift quickly without a massive budget and without rewriting anyone's job description. Players Club, food and beverage, hotel, and on-property communications. Now in the Players Club, the first 10 minutes will decide the day. If enrollment is slow, confusing, or impersonal, you've created friction before the guest has even started to have fun. And if the returning guest hits a long line for a card reprint during peak hours, you've sent a message about how much you value their time. Experience maker moves are a queue triage, new signups here, card reprints there. That prevents a single bottleneck from backing up the line. Or a simple script shift. Welcome back communicates more than ID please. And an immediate bounce back for new enrollments, next day or this week. That starts a relationship instead of just opening an account. Now for food and beverage, speed and clarity beat options. Guests don't walk into a casino hungry for complexity. They want confidence. Where do I go? How long will it take? Is it worth it? Experience maker moves include peak time menus with fewer items that you can execute faster. This is why restaurants offer a lunch menu. Or signage that answers the guest's actual questions, not just what's on special. And then there's pre-shift alignment between marketing and F&B. What's being promoted today, and what does that mean for volume and pace? Casino-friendly service formats like quick options that fit gaming patterns so guests don't feel like they have to choose between eating and playing. Now let's focus on hotel. If you caught our episode a couple of weeks ago with Ben Scholl, you know the first 5 minutes of the hotel arrival can set the tone for everything. Check-ins is either a welcome or a warning. For a guest who drove 2 hours to spend a weekend, those first 5 minutes set the tone for everything that follows before they even get to the casino floor. A pre-arrival message that reduces confusion, parking, entrance, check-in hours, and where to go first is an excellent experience maker move. A welcome back touch that feels human instead of automated, and a simple recovery plan for when things go sideways, because they will, but how you handle it matters more than the hiccup itself. If you want to go deeper on this one, I covered the first 5 minutes in detail in a recent episode of Drive Time Marketing. I'll include the link in the show notes. Now, on-property communications has been my specialty. You have to stop making guests wander, or is it wonder? If guests are asking staff the same questions all day, the property is leaking experience points. What time does the buffet open? Is the concert sold out tonight? Where do I redeem this? Every one of those questions is a moment where the guest's attention shifted away from having a good time. So experience maker moves would include one clear today at a glance hub, whether that's digital or physical, that answers the top 5 questions before they're asked. Consistent language across signage, host, players club, and kiosk. And a harder editorial standard for your own communications. Fewer messages, clearer hierarchy, and stop promoting everything at equal volume. Now, one of the things we typically recommend in this new role that we're taking on is a friction audit. It's your fastest path to more repeat visits. Before you design anything new, Do a simple audit where guests get annoyed, confused, or slow down. The friction points worth prioritizing are the ones that happen frequently, or touch multiple departments, or create silent churn. Guests don't complain, they just come back less often. Some common high-impact examples include the long players club lines on peak nights, restaurant hours or capacity that don't match demand, or promotions that require too many steps to redeem, inconsistent guest handling during high-volume periods, and the best, I didn't know that was happening tonight, the invisible event. Fixing 3 of these can outperform a new promotion because you're improving the container the promotion lives in. The offer doesn't change, the experience of redeeming it does. So how do you do this without creating turf wars? Well, the most effective version of the shift isn't the marketing director asking for a seat at the table. It's the general manager building the table and inviting everyone to it. When the GM frames cross-functional alignment as a guest experience initiative rather than as a marketing initiative, the dynamic changes entirely. Operations isn't being asked to support marketing. Everyone is being asked to support the guests. That's a goal nobody argues with, and it's an infrastructure decision, not a personnel decision. You're not changing who owns what, you're building a rhythm that keeps the property aligned on what the guests are actually experiencing. For marketing directors making the case internally, the argument isn't, give us more authority. The argument is, let's connect what guests are experiencing to revenue numbers we're already watching. Time on property, redemption rates, return visit frequency, database reactivation. When you can show that reducing player club wait time correlates with same-day gaming revenue, you've made a business case and not a turf claim. Now, I've included a weekly experience huddle and monthly guest journey review, as well as KPIs that I think are worth tracking in our original blog post. I'll include that link in the show notes. When marketing becomes an experience function, something shifts across the whole property. Promotions perform better because operations is ready for them. Loyalty improves because guests feel taken care of, not just marketed to. Your database becomes more valuable because guests are returning by choice, not just by coupon. And you stop competing primarily on who has the bigger offer and start competing on who feels easiest and most rewarding to spend time with. That's a sustainable advantage. Offers get matched. Experiences get remembered. If you're accountable for revenue, you need to understand what's driving it. Marketing gets measured on results. What doesn't always show up in that conversation is how much of that number is being shaped by experiences marketing didn't create or doesn't control. A guest who had a 25-minute wait for a drink on the floor isn't coming back because of your next mailer. A guest who stood in the Players Club line for 20 minutes on a Saturday night is going to think twice before making the drive next weekend. A hotel guest who checked in stressed and confused didn't start their visit in the right headspace for any of your promotions to land. The experience doesn't show up on the marketing report, but it absolutely shows up in the revenue number marketing is being asked to explain. That's why casino marketers are becoming experience makers. Not because it's someone else's job that we're taking over, but because we can't deliver on our own numbers without it. And the properties that figure that out first are going to have an advantage that's genuinely difficult to copy. Thanks for joining me on this week's edition of Drive Time Marketing.